Hi. I was reading. Oh, thank you, thank you. I was reading and I got so caught up in what I was reading and I looked up. I said, "Oh, the show started 13 seconds ago." Well, hi. I'm so glad you tuned in. I'm Psychic Frank, and this is Psychic Frank's Mystery School. As I was leaving my apartment today, a buddy in Arizona called and said, "You were right, Frank." I said, "I'm always right." Because, yeah, remember, the planets don't make things happen, they simply reflect what's going on. And I was taught years ago in the mystery school back in the 80s that you use astrology and numerology to get your time, because a lot of psychics, I mean, all psychics, I guess, we have these time frames that are really clear, but they could be decades off. And right off the bat, I was so grateful that I figured out the thing about, so that's why my accuracy is, because a lot of times people are getting all frustrated because it's not that, now, their prayers aren't heard. The answer they're getting isn't not now. You got to wait 2 years, you know. Remember, patience is one of those non-material gifts you get to take with you. So I know it's not one of my strengths, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it, and it will become one of my strengths when by the time I'm ready to check out of Earth School. So much is going on. Where do we want to start here? Okay, got it. Oh well, obviously, if you watched the news today, the Mueller report is out, and we're going to get to all that because the Mountain Astrologer. I'm here in San Francisco, but this is April May's Mountain Astrologer. Comes out every 2 months. And Pan Youngum said, whatever Pluto has revealed, Saturn brings into sharp relief. Yeah, we're going to talk about tomorrow, actually, the 19th. Yeah, we're taping this show live right now. It's the 18th Thursday. I'm here the first and the third Thursday of every month at 5 o'clock on Channel 76. And then here in San Francisco, they show me a lot on both cable access stations, but most people see me. My regular slot is 7:30 p.m. at Saturday nights at 7:30 on Channel 29 if you're here in San Francisco. But they'll be on YouTube. I always come back the next day, Friday, to the computer lab here at Bayvac and upload my shows. So, okay. So for the last couple of months, I have this book here. It's one of my books I have I'm writing all these books. And keeping notes, all of these things I'm writing down is how I meditate. And I forgot to bring this for months and months. And today I picked up this book and I have the rubber bands on it open to this page. So I'm just going to read it. It's by a woman named Barbara Ahrenreich. It's a German name, I guess. Ehrenrich. And she says, quote unquote, shame at our dependence on the underpaid labor of others. When someone works for less pay than she or he can live on, when she goes hungry so that you can eat more cheaply and conveniently, when she has made a great sacrifice for you, then she has made a great sacrifice for you. The working class poor are the major philanthropists of our society. Yeah, this 1%. You know, people have to work minimum wage, 3 jobs to keep up, keep a roof and food, and still have to go on food stamps and Medi-Cal and Medicare and Medicaid and all kinds of state benefits where that 10% is just, where's the justice there? Capitalism is out of control. It should be conscious capitalism. I said Teddy Roosevelt's early 1900s State of the Union. He said corporations ought to serve us, and he said they weren't evil, to keep them from doing evil. And look at them now. What's happening is Notre Dame burnt after 900 years, a lot of centuries, it's gone. And actually, we got Pluto, and it's all about Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn. Saturn builds structures, then Pluto deconstructs them, reconfiguring their ingredients in a way that will better serve the greater whole, ultimately. And that's what's going to happen in Saturn and Pluto conjunct 2020. 22 degrees Capricorn. So remember, we're going through the deconstruction period now. This is why we're seeing towers fall. So the last time, well, not the last time, I'm sure Pluto and Capricorn was conjunct Saturn and Capricorn was during the Reformation, the 1500s. And that's when I'm not big on history then, but that's when the Protestant Reformation 1520. It's actually started in 1517 and went through 1555. It ended. So that was Pluto. But Saturn for 2.5 years there, probably 1520, is when they just had it with the popes. It was like golden rule. The popes, it was very more corrupt than it had ever been, and that's when it got into the Protestant Reformation was all about the Bible, And if it's read correctly as a mystical book, but people read it literally, like when you're reading swords, you're reading mind. Anyway, in the mystery school, I wasn't thrilled when I realized we were going to study the Bible. I was ready to walk out, actually. I was ready to burn the Bible, but it's the only book that should be burned. Anyway, but there are, no, I take that back. Yeah, I see there's so many different Bibles out there. There's so many, and I'm sure, like when I hear the word Jesus, I picture a totally different dude than most people, I guess. Although, again, this is a real important thing now. Being cannabis is a big issue, and drug. Suicide is up, especially with young people now, thanks to this individual one. But, when we get to astrology, we're going to see why this was time now, that April was when, he's going down now. And I want to see the kids now, the kids in orange jumpsuits getting their kids taken away from them. Yeah, what's her name? I see if it's like on Bewitched, and Dora couldn't remember Durwood, Darren's name, so she would always call him Durwood. Well, I can't remember any of the kids' names in the Trump family because I don't like them, So, John Ehrlichman, Nixon's counsel and assistant to Richard Nixon. So many young people, when I mention Nixon's name, roll their eyes and go, "He's not relevant, Frank." He is. If you don't get history, it repeats itself. I know Scorpios are naturally blessed, but we get to the cause. We just know that you deal with the effects fester, and you just intuitively take things apart and say, "Okay, what made this go?" Well, this is where we are now. It started here. It started here with the drugs. The Nixon campaign in '68 and the Nixon White House after that had two elements. Semicolon. The anti-war left, yours truly, a.k.a. the hippies, and the black people. You understand what I'm saying? This is Ehrlichman saying this, John Ehrlichman. We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either race against the war or blacks, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with the marijuana and the blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing them both heavily, we could disrupt those communities, we could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Amen to that. And then you see why we shouldn't dig Nixon up and make sure he's buried down and put a stake in his heart. He's evil, evil, evil man. A couple of shows ago, they were on YouTube. I quoted that thing I saw on Antiques Roadshow where they were going to throw it away. And it was an actual letter from the 50s that Dr. Martin Luther King, who achieved sainthood at the end of his life, a mystic, let's say that, he wrote this letter saying that if Nixon, when his meeting with Nixon, and he said if he wasn't sincere, he was the most dangerous man in the world. And it's true. He was the most dangerous. He says, So he said we would raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night in the evening news. Yeah, this is what I grew up with during that. Yeah, we did. Did we know what we were lying? Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Question mark. Of course we did. This is John Ehrlichman. So it just makes my head sort of go. Well, speaking of altered state of consciousness, Neptune, Pisces. Neptune's still in Pisces for a few more years there. That only happens every 80-something years, so get into it, use the dream state, higher consciousness now. But what's going on is, let's get to the astrology stuff. With the February and March, in the first 2 weeks of April, we still had a lot of this Pisces energy going on. Venus, Mars. Well, that's different now. Mercury is going back and forth in Pisces. We got a chance to really, especially when the sun was in Pisces, burn off that Neptunian fog. And also our imaginations were soaring. Little goes a lot ways. So if you're into cannabis, it's been good for us. I pick up cigarette butts all over the, just because, from the curb to the creek, and I just can't help it, fistfuls of them. And I was thinking on the way over here, just imagine when people totally don't smoke tobacco anymore, and it's all about cannabis. There's no more tobacco growing. It's all hemp. George Washington said, grow hemp for everything. You could make plastic out of hemp. We could save the planet with hemp. Cannabis is the way to go. And then you could pick up roaches off the sidewalk and put them in your pipe and smoke them. So nobody would go with that. That's a trickle down. That's a trickle down benefit. Chinese word for busy is composed of two characters, heart and killing. Isn't that interesting? When we make ourselves so busy that we are always rushing around trying to get this or that done or over with, we kill something vital in ourselves. We smother the quiet wisdom of our heart. Don't smother the quiet wisdom of your heart. Enjoy the journey and be here now. Where are my feet? What's the day? Today is the 18th of April, 2019. Moon in Libra. And then tomorrow morning here in California, if you're watching this live right now, 4:12 a.m. is the 29-degree Libra moon. So it's all about endings and completions. And then it says here, better one hand full of quiet than two hands full of striving for wind. Striving after wind. There's this book I just read, and it was really hard because these two brainiacs, young men, did to prove their point about dopamine being the most powerful chemical in our molecule in our body, dopamine. It's why we seek success. See, all the molecules, all the cells in our body are all after one thing: help us deal with the here and now. There's one molecule in our entire body. It's called dopamine, and it's why we seek to succeed, why we discover and prosper, yet at the same time it's why we also gamble and squander. They say it's why the honeymoon doesn't last. It's our search for more and more and more. So I suffered through this book, and they used a lot of 18, 20 syllable words. I was always going to my dictionary. They were really pretentious little jerks. I looked at the back of the book, and they looked like they were around 30 something, 31, 32. I've given them, I'm being generous there, I'm not, but until your first Saturn return, you're being Saturnarized for a reason, After your first Saturn return, then you start, working on your spiritual life. Then you have a lot to transcend, So, and he said it motivates you to pursue, to control, to seek all that. So anyway, I read this book, and they even had pages. I skipped right over it. I had to get this information. They had to attach electrodes to monkey brains and live monkeys, and I was like, screw you, man. So then after the last last paragraph, I went right to the end of the book, and it's all about Tibetan Buddhism. They could have gotten the same information by studying with Tibetan monks. I didn't realize how lucky I was in the 80s. My friend, a good buddy of mine took me to the Zen Center over on Laguna and here in San Francisco, and Page, and it's still there as the Zen Center, they call it. I'm not into it. Too many rules. But I did go to some lectures there, and I met some amazing Tibetan monks who were children when back in the 50s, Tibet was slaughtered by the Chinese. Thousands of Tibetan monks were brutally. Chinese are still brutalizing, making life horrible for Tibet. It's the heart of Asia. It's the heart of Asia, the spiritual heart of Asia, all of Asia. And the Chinese hate them. They hate them. If I was president, I wish they would tell the Chinese no more business was until you lay off on the Tibetans, and he says, with Virgil, so he says how a single chemical in your brain drives love, sex. So they say the molecule of Muir, and how we compensate for this is the up chemical is different. It makes you want what you don't have. So it's all about enjoying what we do have. And that's all about Tibetan Buddhism. Everything they were talking about to counteract and how to make this molecule work for us instead of destroy us is know how it's, and it's all about Tibetan, what I learned by the Tibetan monks about, everything is transient. Nothing lasts. Okay, so that's about that. And yeah, so all these, these zillionaires, when they give these $1 billion, millions of dollars to charities, that's like chump change. That's like finding a quarter on the bottom of your purse and giving it to a homeless guy. That's like, no, you got to give until it hurts. Didn't Jesus or somebody like that say, give the stranger more than your share? If you have a piece of pie. Oh, how many times have I done that? People come by and I'll say, you want to taste this? And I've only got one piece left. And I was going to have have breakfast. That was my breakfast. And I was thinking, but it's like, oh yeah, please, I ate that hope. I tell a little lie, but I just enjoy watching people enjoy. I was just raised that way. Even though I realized I'm not Italian biologically, I was raised by Italians for some reason, and they're just. I think a lot of Latinos, all non-Americans are much more generous. They as soon as you walk in, eat. Americans, we're teenagers. Didn't Michelle Obama? I wanted her to be president. Boy, if she was president, she would have not. She knew that the country was already divided. President Obama, there, he bless his soul. His whole excuse for not pursuing war crimes that he didn't want to divide America. Isn't that terribly sick ironic? Sick ironic. So anyway, before we get to astrology, I wanted to talk about our endocannabinoid system, endocannabinoid system. From now on, we will call it the ECS. It's one of the body's largest neurotransmitter networks, but it has only discovered in the 1980s. 2 decades after THC, the ECS is always working to achieve balance. It heals cancer, and people say, get a cure for cancer. No, the cure for cancer is here. The thing is now, even though it's legal, make it available to people that are not only rich, to the poor, the people, harm reduction. Make a major campaign now that, that liquor's bad. There's global research now by people in the know, scientists, doctors, all not on the dole by corporations. The word is no amount of alcohol is good for the human body. I mean, pour it on a car. It'll take pain off your car. So I think we deluded ourselves into thinking that I mean, I was honest, but I didn't want to even live to my first Saturn return. It was amazing. I lived to 29 because I didn't leave my body and get my consciousness thing going until I was 33. So, I was all about live fast, die young, and leave a good corpse. But I wasn't doing that. My hair was falling out. It was like, man, it's not a nice way to go. It's not a nice way to go. And I would, if there's a hell below, we're all gonna go. Curtis Mayfield, that was that's how I rolled. 2K, yeah. So this whole thing about, it's on all of our organs, our lungs, our, all our vital organs. At its most simple, ECS, communications are composed of messengers and naturally producing endocannabinoid molecules and then I can't all these large clinic. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 40 words, 40 letters in that word. I'm not even going to attempt that one, which are homegrown messengers that can be found in your brain, organs, connective tissue, glands, and immune cells. ECS, once again, our endocannabinoid system, is a balancing system. It sends neurotransmitters to all your body parts to check. Painkillers are more effective, opioids are more effective on emotional pain than they are physical pain. Chew on that one, and that's a scientific fact, Jack. That everything is working smoothly to confirm anything that needs rebalancing. It finds balance. So you Libra people there, that should resonate with you. Oh yeah, I got the chart of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. ACO from here on out. She's got a Libra, and Denise Story comes on right after my show, and she's got Sun and Mars conjunct Libra, and Mercury, I believe, in Libra, and also I believe Pluto in Scorpios, and Sag rising rather. Yeah, so I showed that to Denise today, and she went, "Wow, I feel connected to her." I said, "Yeah, well, I think we're going to support her a lot." I talked about her on my last show. She brings to the point now, for the last 70 years, we've had a war-based economy. And now it's got to be an economy based on green, save the environment, save the planet. Planet, people, profit. Read it, learn it, live it. Remember that? No shoes, no shirt, no service. Okay, planet, people, profit. You notice why I talk about a lot about how much I loved the couple of years I spent in Lake Atelan in Guatemala back in 76, 77, 70, right around there. Why do you think the Price is Right isn't sending people to Lake Atelan, Guatemala? Belize is right up the street from the country, right up, skipping a jump up from Guatemala. But it's not part of that triangle, that poverty triangle, Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. And that's because of the hookworms. You can't, the parasites, the kids have them, babies have them, everybody's got, that's why they have the Board of Health, National Board of Health tells you, I found on the computer, it's a national thing, tells you they recommend, there's a chance, 25% chance that if you go swimming in Lake Atelan, which is surrounded by 3 non-active volcanoes, crystal clear blue water. Hemingway called it paradise. I think it's one of the most beautiful spots on the planet. And it's a shame now because after Reagan, and it's gone downhill since the Contras now. They're lovely, beautiful people, but I think the country's owned by around 10 families. I was best friends with this friend of mine who was dating the president's son. But they had broken up. And we were having breakfast on this beautiful place no one knew about. It was open to the public. It was right on the lake, and it was this little patio. And it was like, I don't know, like a 10, 15-minute walk from the main hotel. But people who didn't stay in the hotel could use this for breakfast or lunch or something, So my friend said, Mavi, her name was Mavi. It's a short for Maria Victoria. Oh, God, I miss her. I've got to do anything to see her again. But anyway, which is a long time ago. So anyway, we would go there to have breakfast whenever she came in from Guatemala City to spend weekends at the place where I was living. near Lake Catalan, and she would take me to this place. She turned me on to it, and for like $1.50, you could drink pots of coffee and delicious breakfast. Yeah, the dollar went really far back there. For like $1, you could have a dinner party for 12 people. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, the food was really cheap back then. And then all of a sudden we were singing "Do, dear," because her English was bad and my Spanish was choppy. And then all of a sudden this helicopter was hovering over our heads. And Mavi went, "Oh, it's Penny." It was a girlfriend of hers, a dual citizenship Radcliffe graduate there. So, I was only in my early mid-20s then, so I was just on, running around looking for God. And I always managed to run into affluent people. So that was good. Must be some good karma there, huh? Well, anyway, I just wanted to share why, we need to start sending, like everybody in Washington, who, not many, but the Dems and the liberals and people who know say we got to make it so they don't want to leave their countries. We can eradicate all those hookworms, that are killing infants. You can see why pregnant women don't want to have infants. In a world where the parasites are like hookworms are just one. There's many, many, many. Okay, I didn't want to bum you all out there, but just keep in mind when you're watching The Price is Right why you never see Lake Atlan being given away, and it is the most beautiful, and the people are so lovely, just lovely. I was so lucky to be there in 76, 77, and as fate would have it, I got to see the whole transfer of power there. So let's see. Let's get to astrology now. Okay, so tomorrow is the full moon. So the first couple of weeks of April was all about still that Piscean energy. Now it's all about getting grounded, and make those visions reality. If you were guaranteed you wouldn't fail, what is it you would be doing right now? What would you be doing? I found an interesting book here, I Believe in You, and I've been reading little stories out of it. And there's one, it's only a paragraph long, and it's worth sharing. And then I won't have to bring this book anymore. So it's, by being yourself, you put something wonderful in the world that was not there before. We really are like snowflakes. There's not two of us. Okay, the longest journey you will ever take is the 18 inches from your head to your heart. That's the mystical marriage. Don't let your mind get hijacked by the everyday thoughts that fill the air. Once you accept an idea, it's an idea whose time has come. I love this book about recovery, the legacy of the heart, the spiritual advantages of a painful childhood by Wayne Muller, Muller. Isn't that funny? Another Muller. Wonder if he's related to Robert Muller. And he talks about the nature of joy, says the Hindu Upanishads. Sandra Bernhard used to say about she doesn't know any Upanishads. It was funny when she said it. There is a joy. Where there is joy, there is creation. The Christian scriptures say that angels announced the birth of the infant Jesus by saying, "Behold, I bring you good tidings of a great joy, which shall be for everyone." Joy. Where's joy nowadays, huh? We invite the possibility of joy through a gradual letting go, sinking gently into love of the divine. But how can we welcome joy when we have so much fear, so little faith that we will be cared for? How will I know I will not be heard? Can I allow myself to believe that I can be happy? This is our dilemma, and also of the frightened child. Jesus will often say, quote unquote, "Be not afraid," because this is the sentence that knocks me out right here. He said, "Be not afraid," quote unquote, because he knew that as soon as we surrender into the life of spirit, all our fears quickly arise to block our path. Man, that's worth this book right there. That is profound. Because remember now, when you start, ignorance is bliss. Look at Donald, dumb as a doorstop. An elderly man in the final days of his life is lying in bed alone. He awakens to see a large group of people clustered around his bed. Their faces are loving but sad. Confused, the old man smiles weakly and whispers, "You must be my childhood friends, come to say goodbye. I'm so grateful." Moving closer, the tallest figure gently grasps the old man's hand excuse me, and replies, "Yes, we are your best and oldest friends, but long ago you abandoned us. We are, for we are the unfulfilled promises of your youth. We are the unrealized hopes, dreams, and plans that you once felt deeply in your heart but never pursued. We are the unique talents that you never refined, the special gifts you never discovered. Old friend, we have not come to comfort you, but to die with you." Man, that's beautiful. I remember back in the early 90s, I was like, on call, never getting paid. And a lot of times the phone would ring. "Oh, Frank, a friend of mine's in a coma in Webster Street Hospital or one of these hospitals." And I would go there. And I'd walk in and start doing chakra work on. And this one guy in particular, this is anybody who's aspiring to cultivate their healing properties, their healer talents. And I always make it clear that, it's not me. I'm just a conduit going through, but it's doing, it takes people off of out of comas, or helps them leave faster. So I learned. I remember this guy was totally out of it. He was totally in a coma. He was attached to all these machines, and so I didn't have to introduce myself to doctors. And I said to the nurse, "I'm a friend of his," and they said, "Okay, and he came right out of it. He came right out of it. So I told him, they came in and, cleaned him up and took the respirator out of his throat. And as I was leaving, I said, "You know what, I'll come back here tomorrow." So the next day, I worked him in the morning, and that afternoon, I worked on him again. And he was getting a little bit of reprieve. And we were talking, he said, "My wife is is in my will. She's my sole heir." He obviously left her a nice chunk of money in his insurance, and she's flying in from Cleveland. She'll be here tomorrow. This was a guy that was in a coma just like 2 days before, and he was eating and still, intravenous and stuff, but no big tubes. And so I got there the next day around 10 o'clock, and worked on him. I was working on him, and then she, just when I was through, I always take off my shoes, so I was putting my shoes on, lacing my tennies, and she followed me out, and she said, "Hey, listen, this is God's honest truth." She said, "I don't know what you think you're getting away with here, but I just came in here. It's my ex-husband. I just flew in from Cleveland, Ohio." She goes, I don't know. How'd she say it? "I don't know what you think you're getting away with, but I don't want to see you around here anymore." And I left. And of course, he went back in coma and died. She got the money and left. So, so when you think that, healing is this glamorous thing where like doors open and the angel, especially when you're honing your gift, that's when young people say, "I'm a master of this and this," and they're like somewhere, in their early 30s. It's like, wow, okay. Okay, so I thought it's a day to write down. March 22nd, 2019. That was a 1 day. That vibrates to a universal 1 day, the day Mueller turned over the report. And for the United States of America, we're in a 5-year. America's in a 5-year. So as I said, for tomorrow is the full moon. And 29 is an important number. Also, cardinal signs, all about getting things done. And that's Libra, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn. Anything within 23 degrees of those signs all year, it's all about those planets and using those planets to really get things done. We'll explain what that. We'll get more into that. See, because the South Node Karma, Capricorn, is in Capricorn, surrounded by Pluto and the planet of death, destruction, and rebirth, and Saturn, the structure of life. Where Saturn changes, goes around the wheel every 30 years, Pluto 240 years. So it was, as they say, the 1500s, the last time Pluto and Saturn were in Capricorn. And I thought that was symbolic, that being symbolically literate, that's when the Notre Dame going down, hollow is going to be reconstructed, but that goes right about with rethinking religion now. That goes right along what I've been saying, practicing presence by Carrie Walters, about nothing more than if you got a God that's getting off on you suffering, man, you need to reinvent God somehow. But we're not going to get into that's too heavy now. That's too heavy for today. Unimaginably extraordinary. None of us, as C.S. Lewis observed, although we often forget this, in our forgetfulness act all too ordinarily, each of us is a holy reflection of divine holiness, thus are unimaginably extraordinary. A saint is nothing more, nothing less than a person who recognizes and strives to live up to his or her holy humanness. This is our true end, and to settle for anything less is to forsake the abundant life for which we were created. Don't let what's going on now with this rite of passage, steal our joy. I am willing to be joyful now. Everybody's grateful at a banquet. Now is a test of your faith. When you laugh in the devil's face, he can't take it. The devil runs away. God can't. They can't take the laugh. There's something else. Okay, so let's get to what's going on with Saturn and Pluto. Oh, excuse me. So that's going to be tomorrow at... so we got Saturn conjunct Pluto. I made some notes about this. Where are they? They should be right in front of me. Here they are. Yeah, because what's going on now, the Sun is conjunct, the Sun 29 degrees Aries, and then the Sun goes into Taurus the very next Saturday, Easter Sunday, 1:55 a.m. here in California. On Sunday, the 20th of April, 2019, the Sun goes into Taurus. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. It's a good thing about a spiritualist. I celebrate all of them, every day is a celebration. Uranus reminding us that each individual is unique. Uranus is the planet of the outsider. The outsider theme, so the outsider theme of Uranus conjunct the Sun, because the Sun will be 2 degrees Taurus. So we've got, I don't know how that works out, but we got the Sun and Uranus conjunct, and this is all about a very eruptive energy, as we're seeing. We had that Barr person, he's the reincarnation. He's Trump's Cohen. Ray Cohen there, who was a despicable human being. But once again, if these people didn't exist, we'd have to invent them. What good is a movie without a bad guy? You got to have some guy play the heavy, There's this thing I heard once that, the meanest person in our lives is probably when we leave this planet. We'll see that somehow that was a dear soul who had to play that part. I don't know. I still believe, like Sylvia Browne said, when evil people die, they don't really suffer right off, their evil deeds. They go immediately into this cocoon. I think that's why the Egyptians wrapped people up and made them into a cocoon there. They got all hung up with the organs or whatever. But there's something about it's surrounded by this intense love, where eventually they do get out of it. But then eventually, if they will get this too shall pass, and they will be incarnated and once again get a chance to, like Stevie Wonder says in Higher Ground, I'm so glad I got a chance to try it again. The last time I lived a life a whole lot of sin. So yeah, be grateful that we got, whatever they're saying there's two thoughts there. We're either doing two things constantly, either creating new karma or paying back old karma. But the thing is to rise above karma. Then you get to accept your destiny with grace and fortitude. But that's an inside job. You got to take responsibility for your life, like it says right here. This is what I was reading before the show started. And I started the show a couple of seconds later than I should. And I was reading a Carl Jung thing, and it's worth repeating. Projection is one of the common, most psychic phenomena. Everything that is unconscious in ourselves, we discover in our neighbor, and we treat him accordingly. Now, think about that, huh? Those who rely too heavily on projection to shield them from their shadow, let's use Donald Trump as a guinea pig, who never strive to question whether the image they hold of themselves is perhaps too perfect, go through life forever in need of scapegoats or people on whom to blame all their problems. After driving one's scapegoats away, it's usually discovered that one's problems persist nonetheless. This spurs some to look within to face up to the elements of their personality they have for so long tried to deny. But rather than partaking in this internal reflection, most people merely look for another scapegoat. As I said, Donald Trump was a total neurotic who has gone psychotic. He's got blood on his hands. All of these people are totally just, I don't understand it. It's bewilderment. I think it's bewilderment. So what's going on now, along with the Sun-Uranus conjunction, the outsider theme now, Uranus is all about higher ground. Sending lightning bolts of electricity. Remember, higher consciousness can't happen without pain. So this is real painful for a lot of people. There's it was only in the 50s, the late 50s, that cognitive dissonance, Leon Festinger, 1957, his cognitive dissonance theory suggested that we have an inner drive to hold all our attitudes and beliefs in harmony to avoid disharmony or dissonance. Like, don't make waves. That was a sick joke when I grew up, I don't even want to get into that sick joke. Speaking of sick jokes, remember Donald Trump, where on his early stumpers and his early Klan gatherings, where he would talk about, well, I don't know the story, but the punchline was, well, you knew I was a snake when you let me in. He was trying to warn people, I'm a snake, I'm evil. As I said, I don't think he was the Antichrist when he started, but who knows? Everybody wants to see his tax returns. I want to see those feet. Take off your shoes. I want to see those cloven hoofs, especially that Miller guy. You notice you never see their feet. Why would you? They don't wear sandals, huh? But, I wouldn't be surprised if he, I'm not being sarcastic there. I want to see his feet. I want him to take off his shoes. Let me see your cloven hoofs. You devil man. He is. He's so bad. I don't take pleasure in saying this, but I do. I do enjoy my life, and I'm so glad that it's happening. And I'm living. I'm in my early 70s now. I'm well into my 70s. 70s just started last year for me, so I'm loving it. So it says attitudes may change because of factors within the person. An important factor here is principle of cognitive consistency. The focus of this proposed 1957 CDT, which states that a powerful motive to maintain cognitive consistency can give rise to irrational and sometimes maladaptive behavior. So these people just want to hang on to this, I don't know, this fantasy, this adamant touch, this dark part of their shadow. Like some people just got hurt real early in life. and then the rest of your life, who knows, you know? And there's not one size fits all, you know. It's like they come from all over the Earth school here, you know. Yeah. So it says with Saturn and Pluto, the full moon. Yeah, we talked about the Reformation there. Slow. Yeah, this. Jupiter is about to go retrograde. Okay, Jupiter actually did go retrograde on the 11th. It goes from 24 degrees, Sagittarius. Remember, when a planet's retrograde, rethink, revision, repair, revisit. Goes all the way down to 15 degrees in July, and then August 12th, Uranus goes direct. 6 degrees Taurus. So if you're a Taurus, you either are, or will be going through an amazing transformation, and the thing is, you can't do anything about it. There's no conscious control over these outer planets. They're the ambassadors to the galaxy. Excuse me. It's like both Einstein and Tesla both agreed that interplanetary communication is the way. It's going to happen. It's totally going to happen. But But we have to. Right now, we're not there. You know, we would only bring trouble. You know, they don't want to buddy with us. But I think. When they see what's going to be going on, because I think extraterrestrials totally saw that our ozone layer was like paper thin, and then in just a few years, a decade or so, it actually amazed people who were in the know. And you could see pictures how it got a lot thicker. Even the astronauts said from outer space it scared them because you could see that thin ozone layer from outer space. Well, that got a little thicker. So I think when we really get united with the Chinese and the Russians and all the major industrial planets or countries start really doing a major green effort, like Cortez says, or Ortega Cortez says, I think we're gonna, this whole thing about demilitarizing, it's sick. It's like living in a country of snuff queens, you know. They outlawed movies where in pornography people would actually get killed. People would buy movies and get off. They're called snuff movies. If you're a kid now, you're getting an education. I'm sorry your parents didn't. I remember being a kid and when I got in group therapy, as an adult. You really get to know these people for a year, Every Friday night you get the same 20 people at St. Mary's Hospital. It was a good recovery program. It was like a good $20,000 program back in '82, it didn't take the first time. I slipped back and forth, but it took in '06. And I'm so glad, though, I had that knowledge. I had all these good sponsors, and thank God, even though, I risked my life, but now I believe I'm totally, because to me it's suicide. Right now my whole life is run by my wellness and my liver, and I'm so grateful. The liver is a very forgiving organ. Your body will talk to you. A friend of mine gave me this beautiful painting of a heart. And because I was telling him, I visited him a few weeks after his heart attack. He had a quadruple bypass surgery. And after he recovered, I went to visit him, and he told me this. And I said, well, your vital organs will talk to you. They get a pleasure out of doing what they do. And he ran upstairs and brought me this painting, and then he actually gave it to me. Okay, because the Taurus new moon will be on May 4th, and that's getting a grip on our new laid plans, using fresh eyes. We're seeing the planets don't make things happen; they simply reflect what's going on. And like I predicted, April now is when the truth is prevailing. Everybody's getting, it's going to hurt. A lot of people, at first the truth hurts, but then we're grateful for it. Nobody's usually really grateful when I tell them, you got a bigger problem than like Jerry Seinfeld had this thing where he says, if you're banging your brain against the wall trying to decide what kind of detergent's going to get the blood out of your carpet, you might want to stop for a second and think, I might just have a bigger problem than getting them. So, that's why I'm saying if you're a heavy smoker or smoke cigarettes at all, or now have a drinking problem, or, something that needs to be taken care of, don't spend money and come to see me, because I'm just going to tell you, take care of that. That's your major problem. Let's see what we got now. I think that this knowledge now is settling in. We got 2 minutes. Let me see what cutting the cards and what do my viewing collective consciousness of the people watching this show right now need to know, especially in regard to our country and individual one and his corrupt family. Yeah, tomorrow is all about, this full moon is all about the truth. Remember, when a full moon happens, the tides are really high and our landmarks are submerged and we feel disoriented and fear kicks in. And then as the tide goes down, we see a whole new landscape. So keep our emotions in check with this full moon. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Let's start thinking about not that capitalism is evil, but collective capitalism, conscious capitalism. When you care about the community, it's called communism. You care about society, is socialism. We stick that ism in it. We don't want to live in Trumpistan. We want to make Trumpism a wasm. I love you. I get a kick out of myself. And thanks for watching. I love you guys. Remember, don't try to push the pain away. Just don't own it and rise above it. And remember, if you're feeling pain, you're probably feeling guilty about something. Forgive yourself. It's a new day. It's a new day, and I'm going to let my life shine. God bless you. One mind's blessings. Okay, I just couldn't be thrilled that it's beginning of the end for the Trumpistan, and the debauchery is almost over. Okay, I'll be back here the first Thursday of May. Namaste.